1 year from tonight, you will lie in your bed and think about this moment. You will remember that you once stood at the edge of decision. You will either feel pride because you acted or regret because you delayed. 365 days. That is all I am asking you to measure. Not a lifetime, not a vague someday. 1 year of directed living. Most men say they want their dream life, yet they scatter their hours. They chase 10 ambitions at once. They begin with excitement and end with explanation. And when 12 months pass, they claim the year was busy, but not transformational. Busy is not powerful. Directed is powerful. Imagine dividing your next 365 days into deliberate phases. The first to define your definite chief aim in writing. The second to condition your mind daily with faith and repetition. The third to organize detailed plans and take decisive action. The fourth to persist until results materialize. A blueprint, not a wish. The tragedy is not that dreams are too large. The tragedy is that they are too undefined. I want freedom. I want wealth. I want peace. These are emotions, not aims. An emotion without direction dissolves. But when a man writes, within 365 days I will earn this specific income, render this specific service, build this specific enterprise, something shifts. His subconscious begins to search, his attention sharpens, his habits reorganize, and clarity creates power. Now picture an ordinary Tuesday, 3 months from now. Instead of drifting through the day, you consult your written aim. You know your primary task. You complete it before distraction can claim you. You review your progress at night. You correct your course if necessary. This is not dramatic, it is disciplined. And discipline repeated daily for 1 year becomes transformation. Consider the cost of ignoring this blueprint. Another year of partial effort. Another cycle of enthusiasm followed by fatigue. Another December asking where the time went. Time never went anywhere. It was spent without command. You were not born to wander from week to week. You were born with the ability to select a chief purpose and bend your days around it. Yet no one taught you to treat a year as a structured campaign. Think of a general entering battle without a plan. He may possess courage, but courage without strategy leads to defeat. Likewise, desire without organized planning leads to frustration. The 365-day blueprint demands 4 things: definiteness, daily autosuggestion, organized action, and persistence beyond temporary defeat. Definiteness fixes the target. Autosuggestion strengthens belief. Action moves reality. Persistence protects momentum. Miss one, and the structure weakens. Commit to all 4, and the year becomes a turning point. Ask yourself honestly, if you gave 12 months to one burning aim without retreat, what could you accomplish? What income could you build? What body could you shape? What relationship could you restore? What legacy could you initiate? Most men never discover the answer because they never attempt the experiment. They spread their power thin. You must concentrate it. For the next 365 days, your task is simple. Read your aim morning and night. See it as accomplished. Render service worthy of it. Track your progress weekly. Adjust your plan, but never abandon your goal. By month 3, you will feel different. By month 6, others will notice. By month 9, momentum will carry you. By month 12, the life you once called a dream will feel natural, not because it arrived by chance, but because you built it deliberately. Ignore this message, and next year will resemble the last. Follow it, and your life will not merely improve, it will reorient. A year from now, the mirror will reflect either the man who drifted or the man who designed. The blueprint is simple. The commitment is rare. Choose to design. 365 days from today, you can awaken inside the life you once imagined. If you are willing to build it day by day, decision by decision, without excuse. The dream life is not found, it is constructed, and construction begins now. You cannot live your dream life in 365 days if you attempt to live 10 dreams at once. The first error of the majority is not lack of ambition, but excess of scattered desire. They want freedom, wealth, influence, travel, recognition, peace, and security all at the same time, and because they divide their force, they advance in none with power. Concentrated sunlight ignites fire. Diffused sunlight merely warms the surface. So it is with ambition. If the next year is to alter your direction permanently, you must begin by narrowing your power to a single, dominant, measurable aim, not an emotion, not a vague aspiration, a written objective that can be tested by fact. Most men lose 10 years because they refuse to lose 10 options. They cling to alternatives. They protect escape routes. They keep multiple ambitions alive so that if one becomes uncomfortable, they may retreat into another. This habit produces movement without momentum. The first 30 days of your 365-day campaign must therefore be devoted not to frantic action, but to deliberate selection. Sit alone. Close the door. Lay before you a blank sheet of paper. Ask yourself this question with seriousness. If I were to devote the next 365 days to one clear objective without retreat, what would most transform my life? Do not answer quickly. Let experience speak. You are not choosing a hobby. You are choosing direction. Once chosen, write it in exact terms. If it concerns income, state the precise amount you intend to earn within the year. If it concerns building an enterprise, define its measurable structure. If it concerns mastery, specify the level to be achieved. Attach a definite date exactly 1 year forward. The date creates urgency. Urgency produces intensity. Intensity accelerates progress. Edwin C. Barnes did not say he hoped to work with Edison. He declared that he would become his associate. His selection preceded his opportunity. Your selection will precede yours. After writing the aim, name the service you will render in exchange. There is no something for nothing. If you demand increase, you must offer increase. This exchange clause prevents illusion. It forces you to recognize that dreams are purchased through contribution. During these first 30 days, read your aim morning and night, not mechanically, but with emotional conviction. See it accomplished. Hear others congratulating you. Feel gratitude as though it were already secure. The subconscious mind does not measure time. It responds to repetition backed by feeling. If you repeat uncertainty, you strengthen hesitation. If you repeat certainty, You strengthen decision. You must also eliminate competing ambitions for this year. This does not mean abandoning them forever. It means postponing them deliberately. Write them on a separate page and mark them for later review. This single act can save 10 wandering years because divided attention is the silent destroyer of progress. When alternatives remain alive, commitment weakens. When alternatives are closed, power intensifies. Others will begin to sense the shift in you. Your speech will narrow. Your conversations will become purposeful. You will no longer discuss 10 possibilities. You will speak of one construction. People respond differently to a man who has decided. They sense seriousness. They sense direction. They treat him accordingly. Let this affirmation anchor your first month. For 365 days, I pursue one definite purpose. I release distraction. I commit fully. Speak it with firmness. The majority will never attempt this experiment. They will scatter their days across minor desires and then claim the year passed quickly. You will not allow that. You will treat the next 12 months as a campaign. The first month is planning and commitment. No general enters battle without selecting the objective. You now have selected yours. Guard it. Read it. Refuse to dilute it. This first act of narrowing your dream to one measurable objective will compress time itself. For 1 year of concentrated effort can replace 10 years of scattered motion. The dream life does not begin with noise. It begins with decision. And decision begins with choosing one aim and refusing all others. Once you have chosen your single dominant aim for the year, you must understand that selection alone is insufficient. Many men write a goal in January and abandon it in March because they failed to condition the mind to accept it as inevitable. The next 60 days are devoted not primarily to outward achievement, but to inward alignment. You are installing belief. You are rehearsing ownership before possession appears. If the subconscious mind doubts the aim, it will quietly sabotage effort. If it accepts the aim, it will cooperate with surprising loyalty. Therefore, morning and night, read your written declaration aloud. Do not rush the words. Pause at the definite date. Pause at the exact amount or measurable result. Pause at the service you will render. Attach emotion to each phrase. The subconscious responds to feeling more than logic. If you repeat your aim without conviction, it remains ink. If you repeat it with gratitude as though already achieved, it becomes command. During these 60 days, you must guard your thinking as carefully as a banker guards gold. The 6 ghosts of fear will attempt to enter: fear of failure, fear of criticism, fear of poverty. They will whisper that the aim is too ambitious, that others have tried and failed, that circumstances are uncertain. Do not argue emotionally. Replace the whisper with repetition. Say firmly, "My dream life is forming through my daily belief and disciplined action." The mind cannot hold 2 dominant ideas at once. Whichever is repeated with greater emotion will prevail. Study the example of my own son, who was born with severe limitation of hearing. Had we repeated the language of impossibility, his life would have conformed to it. Instead, through repeated suggestion of capability and advantage, strength was built where weakness was predicted. So it is with you. For 60 days, you are training expectation. Expectation shapes posture. Posture influences action. Action produces evidence. Evidence strengthens expectation. This cycle must begin deliberately. You may also create a short personal creed for this year, summarizing your aim and your character in pursuit of it. Speak sentences such as, I am disciplined. I render service beyond what is expected. I persist until results appear. I think accurately and act decisively. These are not idle affirmations. They are identity statements. Identity governs behavior more strongly than desire alone. Within weeks, you will notice subtle change. You will speak with greater certainty. You will decline invitations that conflict with your aim. You will feel discomfort when tempted to postpone essential tasks. That discomfort is proof that belief is taking root. Others will begin to sense the difference. They may comment that you appear more focused, more serious, more directed. They may not know the cause, but they will feel the effect. Belief radiates. Doubt also radiates. Choose which you will project. These 60 days may not yet produce dramatic external results, and you must not become impatient. Impatience weakens faith. Faith must be cultivated through repetition. Remember that most men waste 20 years hesitating because they never fully believed they could attain their ambition. You are compressing that 20 years into 60 days of deliberate mental conditioning. Continue reading your aim twice daily. Continue emotionalizing the outcome. Continue guarding your thoughts. Continue speaking your creed aloud. By the end of this period, your aim will feel less like hope and more like inevitability. When belief becomes natural, action becomes easier. And when action becomes easier, progress accelerates. This is how you build the internal foundation required to live your dream life within 365 days. The world changes only after the mind has changed. Condition the mind first, and the remainder of the year will follow its instruction. By the time you reach this stage, your aim has been written, and your belief strengthened through repetition. Now the year must shift from internal conditioning to disciplined execution. Desire without structure dissolves. Belief without organized planning becomes frustration. The next 120 days are devoted to converting your dream into a campaign. Think not as a wishful man, but as a general directing forces toward a single objective. Break your yearly aim into quarterly targets. If your aim is financial, determine the exact amount that must be produced within the next 90 days. If it concerns building an enterprise, define what must be constructed in measurable form. Large ambition overwhelms when viewed as a whole, but becomes manageable when divided into segments. Each segment must be translated into weekly acts. Decide precisely what must occur each week to move you forward. Assign definite hours to the most important tasks. Sacred hours cannot be negotiable. If you leave them to convenience, convenience will fail you. Organized planning requires written tracking. At the end of each week, examine the facts, not feelings, not intentions, facts. What was accomplished? What was delayed? Why? Adjustment is not surrender. Adjustment refines accuracy. The story of 3 feet from gold must remain before you during this period. Many men labor intensely for months, then abandon their effort just before success appears because they mistake temporary resistance for permanent failure. When difficulty arises, consult your written aim. Ask whether the obstacle is evidence to quit or instruction to adapt. Persistence without planning is blind. Planning without persistence is weak. You must combine both. During these months, construct a small mastermind circle if possible. 2 or 3 disciplined associates aligned with growth can sharpen your thinking and hold you accountable. Association multiplies clarity. Eliminate low-value activity. Examine your days honestly. How many hours are spent in trivial engagement? Replace at least a portion of that time with directed action toward your aim. Concentration compresses time. Distraction stretches it wastefully. Let this affirmation guide your campaign. Each day advances my purpose. My actions are deliberate. I adjust methods, but never abandon my aim. Speak it before beginning your primary labor. You will begin to see visible evidence of change during this period. Income may rise incrementally. Skills will sharpen. Confidence will solidify. Others will begin to treat you differently because your conduct demonstrates seriousness. They will observe that you no longer wander through tasks. You complete defined actions consistently. That reliability builds reputation. Reputation invites opportunity. Remember that the majority never organizes their dreams. They rely upon enthusiasm alone. Enthusiasm fades. Organized effort compounds. This is the phase where decades can be compressed into months. By measuring, adjusting, and persisting weekly, you prevent the drift that consumes 10 years of many lives. Continue dividing large objectives into daily execution. Continue reviewing progress every 7 days. Continue refining your plan. The campaign mentality keeps momentum alive. A year treated casually produces casual results. A year treated as a disciplined campaign produces transformation. You are not hoping for your dream life. You are constructing it deliberately, week by week, action by action. And as structure strengthens, confidence deepens. The middle of the year is where most lose direction. It will be where you solidify it. Organized action is the bridge between belief and result. Cross it daily. As the year advances beyond its midpoint, a subtle test appears. The excitement of beginning has faded. The novelty of change has worn away. Results may be visible, yet not fully matured. This is the stage where most men quietly reduce their effort. They do not announce surrender. They simply soften their pace. You must not. The final 120 days are devoted to endurance of identity. You are no longer proving that you can begin. You are proving that you can continue. Persistence is not stubborn repetition of ineffective action. It is disciplined refusal to abandon a definite aim. When temporary defeat appears, examine it calmly. Ask what it teaches. Adjust your plan where necessary, but do not adjust your commitment. Henry Ford insisted upon producing the V8 motor despite engineers declaring it impossible. He did not ignore fact. He demanded solution. That insistence turned obstacle into achievement. So must you treat resistance in these months. Guard against fatigue of mind more than fatigue of body. Fatigue of mind begins when doubt whispers that effort has already been sufficient. It suggests that partial progress is acceptable. It tempts you to protect what you have rather than pursue what you declared. Reject that temptation. Review your original written aim. Compare present results with original promise. If distance remains, increase precision. If obstacles appear, refine method. Persistence is intensified clarity. Others will begin to slow during this period. Many abandon new resolutions by the 9th month of any campaign. They justify it. They speak of balance. They tell themselves they have done enough. This is where you separate from the majority. Let this affirmation strengthen you. I continue until results appear. My momentum grows as others retreat. Speak it with firmness. The subconscious mind must be reminded that effort is not negotiable. Renew your emotional attachment to the aim. Recall why you chose it. Revisit the dissatisfaction that preceded it. Visualize once more the completed result. Emotion refuels persistence. Do not allow distractions disguised as opportunity to dilute your focus. As progress becomes visible, new invitations may arise. Examine each carefully. Does it serve your aim or divert from it? Concentration at the end of the year is more powerful than at the beginning. Compounded effort yields its greatest fruit in the latter stages. During these months, measure your effort daily against your declared standard. Increase quality of service, deepen your attention, strengthen your mastermind alliance if necessary. Consult wisely but decide firmly. Others will observe your steadiness. They will sense that you do not retreat under pressure. They will trust your word because you have demonstrated continuity. Trust builds influence. Influence multiplies opportunity. Remember that many lose 10 or 20 years in cycles of beginning and quitting. They start boldly and end quietly. By persisting beyond discomfort, you eliminate those wasted cycles. The final stretch determines whether the year becomes ordinary or extraordinary. You are not racing against time, you are mastering it. Continue, adjust where required, strengthen belief daily, protect sacred hours, refuse retreat. By the end of this phase, the dream that once felt distant will feel tangible. Not because it appeared suddenly, but because you refused to withdraw when effort became inconvenient. Persistence transforms desire into possession. And the final months of your 365-day campaign will prove that you are not merely capable of starting a dream life. You are capable of sustaining it. As the final 55 days of your 365-day campaign approach, you must understand that this period is not for relaxation, it is for consolidation. Many men, seeing progress at last, reduce intensity prematurely. They taste partial victory and assume the structure will sustain itself. But momentum must be secured deliberately. These last days determine whether the year becomes a turning point or a temporary surge. Begin with a full written review. Examine the aim you declared at the beginning of the year. Compare it with present fact. Where have you exceeded expectation? Where have you fallen short? This is not a time for self-criticism, but for accurate thinking. Accurate thinking preserves gains and prepares for multiplication. Record every measurable improvement. Income increased, Habits strengthened, confidence deepened, alliances formed. Written evidence strengthens belief for the future. Identify which habits produce the greatest advancement. Was it the sacred morning hour, the weekly review, the mastermind council? Preserve these. Habits are engines. Engines must be maintained. Eliminate weaknesses revealed during the year. If procrastination reappeared in certain seasons, design safeguards. If distraction diluted effort, reduce exposure permanently. The final weeks are for tightening structure, not loosening it. Secure a portion of any financial increase. Wealth not directed can dissolve as quickly as it formed. Discipline must continue beyond attainment. Strengthen alliances developed during the year. Express gratitude. Confirm shared purpose. Cooperative power extends results beyond individual effort. Others will now see in you a man transformed, not because of dramatic declaration, but because of consistent execution. They will note that you no longer speak vaguely of ambition. You speak from experience. You have built evidence. Evidence commands respect. Respect invites further opportunity. In these last days, write the next definite chief aim before the year ends. Do not wait for the calendar to turn. Momentum must roll forward without interruption. The greatest error after success is complacency. Complacency invites regression. Let this affirmation close your campaign. I design my life year by year. I secure my gains and expand my vision. Speak it as you prepare the next blueprint. Reflect on what has occurred. 1 year ago, the dream felt distant. Today, it feels structured, perhaps not perfect, but tangible. This is proof of law. Definiteness, belief, organized action, and persistence produce transformation. Most men waste 10 years experimenting without structure. You have compressed learning into 12 deliberate months. Imagine 5 consecutive years lived with equal clarity. The dream life ceases to be dream. It becomes character. And character, once formed, sustains result naturally. The final 55 days are therefore not ending. They are foundation. Secure the habits. Preserve the structure. Expand the aim. Continue the discipline. For the life you desired was never hidden from you. It required design, and you have learned how to design it deliberately, 1 year at a time. 1 year ago, you stood at the edge of decision. The life you desired felt distant, almost ceremonial, something spoken of in quiet moments, but rarely pursued with structure. Today, as this 365-day campaign closes, you no longer speak of your dream life as imagination. You speak of it as construction. The difference is not luck. It is law. You chose one aim and refused distraction. You conditioned your mind until belief became natural. You organized your days like a campaign. You persisted when enthusiasm faded. You secured your gains and prepared the next design. Most men drift through years and call them experience. You directed a year and turned it into evidence. That evidence now changes you. When you look in the mirror, you do not see the man who hoped. You see the man who executed. You do not measure yourself by intention. You measure yourself by action completed. Confidence now rests on proof, not imagination. Others notice this change even if they cannot describe it. They sense certainty in your tone. They observe steadiness in your habits. They trust your word more readily because it has been tested by discipline. Influence begins to follow naturally. The true reward of this year is not merely the material result achieved, it is the identity constructed. You have proven to yourself that a single year, treated as deliberate campaign, can replace 10 wandering ones. You have learned that clarity creates power, that repetition strengthens belief, that organized action multiplies effort, that persistence protects momentum. These are not theories now, they are personal experience. And because they are personal experience, they can never again be dismissed as mere advice. The dream life is no longer a distant horizon. It is a pattern you understand how to reproduce. 1 year of structure can transform direction. 5 such years can transform destiny. The clock will continue its motion, but now you know how to command your portion of it. Remember this above all. The year did not change because conditions improved. It changed because you improved your command of yourself. Circumstance responds to disciplined direction. It does not bow to vague desire. Carry forward what you have learned. Guard the habits that produced growth. Protect your sacred hours. Continue writing your aims clearly. Continue reviewing them morning and night. Continue measuring fact over feeling. If you do, you will never again say, "Where did the time go?" You will say, "I directed it." 1 year from now, you may look back upon this year not as achievement, but as foundation. And that is as it should be, for success is not a single campaign. It is a succession of deliberate ones. You were never waiting for your dream life to appear. You were waiting to design it. Now you know how. Continue designing. And let every future year reflect the discipline you proved possible in this one. There is something profoundly different about a man who has lived 1 year deliberately. It cannot always be seen in his clothing or counted in his bank account. It is visible in his bearing. He moves with intention. He speaks without apology. He no longer waits for permission to act. He has discovered something the majority never test. He has discovered that time is neutral until directed. For years, perhaps, you allowed the calendar to turn without command. Days were filled but not focused. Effort was spent but not measured. Ambition was felt but not organized. That pattern produced familiarity, not transformation. Then you chose to design a year. You narrowed your aim. You strengthened belief through repetition. You organized action with precision. You persisted when others slowed. You secured your progress and prepared your next design. And in doing so, you altered more than circumstance. You altered identity. A man who has directed 1 year understands that direction is repeatable. He no longer fears long horizons because he knows how to divide them into campaigns. He no longer envies the fortunate because he has witnessed law at work in his own life. The law is simple and impartial. Definiteness produces focus. Focus produces action. Action sustained by persistence produces result. You have seen this sequence unfold in your own experience. That knowledge cannot be taken from you. There will still be challenges ahead. There will be moments of uncertainty, but you no longer interpret uncertainty as defeat. You interpret it as instruction. That alone distinguishes you from the drifter. The drifter blames the year. The designer builds within it. Others will observe your steadiness. They may ask how your life shifted so clearly within 12 months. You will not need dramatic explanation. You will know that nothing mystical occurred. You simply obeyed structure. You treated 365 days as a campaign instead of a sequence of habits. You measured progress. You corrected error. You refused retreat. That discipline now becomes your standard. The greatest danger at this stage is not failure. It is complacency. Do not allow success to soften the habits that created it. The discipline that built this year must build the next. Remember that most men waste 10 years searching for clarity when one disciplined year could provide it. You have proven that clarity is constructed, not discovered by accident. The dream life is not a single event. It is a pattern of deliberate years. If you continue as you have begun, each year will add structure, wealth, influence, peace, or mastery. Momentum will become natural. Confidence will deepen. The life you once described as someday will become ordinary experience. And that is the final revelation. Extraordinary living is rarely dramatic. It is disciplined. It is built quietly in mornings guarded from distraction. It is reinforced in evenings spent reviewing fact instead of excuse. It is strengthened by repetition of belief until doubt loses authority. You now possess the blueprint. Guard it, use it, refine it, and never again surrender a year to drift. For you have learned what most never attempt, that 365 days directed with definiteness and persistence can redraw the entire outline of a life. Continue designing, and let each future year testify that your dream was not a fantasy. It was a construction.